The JP Poll Week 9 edition. I'm riding around yesterday. I'm listening to the Cover 3 pod, and one Danny Cannell won't even do it by name. Such a cowardly move. References the JP Poll and talks about how it drives him insane. And how about that feat, by the way, for a guy who has made a career in making other people feel that way? We drove him crazy. I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding as to what we're trying to do with this. And I know a lot of you regulars out there get tired of me explaining this. And I'm not going to do it again. I'm just going to explain it a different way. I'm not trying to do anything here other than show you how this model would feel if these teams played tomorrow. It's not merit-based. You're not earning anything by winning on the field. Therefore, if I were running the playoff committee, I would not rank teams like this. It's totally like another world. If you take what we do, pick it up with the grab claw machine, you go, and drop it over here. Over here, that's where our power ratings exist. And then in this other compartment over here, that's where your real-world ranking system exists. Again, the comments will be flooded. Look, you can either be, you know what, I'm not going to say that. We're live. Look at the discipline and restraint I had there. Let's take a look at the JP poll. Again, for those of you unfamiliar, it's just our power ratings internally. Who would be favored against who? Well, Florida State is still there. A lot of you are upset by this, but Florida State is still in the top 25. Illinois, welcome to the party, Illinois. They are number 24. Texas Tech also unrated last week. Red Raiders are number 23. Wake is number 22. UCLA did not drop all that far. I think we dropped them 1.25, maybe 1.5 points. Still a good team. They just ran up on a really, really good team at home. So we're not going to punish them wholesale, just partially. Just, a little swat. Let's take a look at the top 20, shall we? Mississippi State, you don't plummet when you lose to Bama around here, because what happened to Mississippi State is exactly what we expected. And so since we got the result we expected, it's tied to what the model spits out. Therefore, if the model gets what it expected, it's not dropping a team very far. I think Mississippi State actually went unchanged. I think a couple of teams climbed above them, and we had to bump them down because of that. Arkansas is 19. Ole Miss dropped a few spots to 18, and it's a really tricky situation here for Ole Miss because of the backloaded nature of their schedule. They play A&M this week, and they're a 3 or 2.5 point favorite out there, depending on when you looked at that number. Let's just keep an eye on them. Because if they lose a bunch of close games, they're not going to drop a whole lot. The AP would drop them, I wouldn't. Oregon State is still a big riser. The state of Oregon, not so quietly anymore, if you're paying attention, is on fire when it comes to college football right now. Kentucky's got a big one with Tennessee this week. They're at number 16. We break into the top 15 here. And, okay. Let me take my first sip of not burnt orange liquid. And that's a bright orange tonight. I, much like your mother and father, do not have to agree with the model all the time. The model and I have differences of opinion, just like mom and dad do, okay? Now, hopefully it doesn't always play out in front of the child, like my disagreement with the model has played out publicly in front of you, but I don't think Texas is the 15th best team in the country. I would not favor Texas over some of the teams that the model has listed behind them. But true to our word, we do not adjust these numbers. I did it in the preseason with Tennessee, and it went back to bite me. So I'm not messing with these numbers. Whatever this model spits out, including Texas at 15, with like 9 losses now, I'm going to put them there. So Texas is at 15. I would not choose Texas. Neutral field tomorrow over some of the teams behind them. We move on. Penn State's at 14. They got Ohio State this week. Kansas State we will see in person this week. They're at 13. LSU is a big riser. LSU is in ascension mode. LSU was not that good to start the year. Some teams improve. That's why we play the sport. That's why you have coaches that show up during the season for practice every day, because it is a developmental game, and sometimes teams get better, and sometimes teams get worse. Utah is at 11. We've been very consistent on them. Okay, top 10. We've got some movement here. Okay, Oregon, I would also argue, is big time in ascension mode. They're at number 10. Just saw them in person. We will see Oklahoma State Saturday. They're at number 9. Look at the Big 12 flex. TCU's at number 8. Side note, I got a question for you guys. You can drop it in the comments if you want to. You can tell me in the live chat right now. Do you think TCU is the best team in the Big 12? And if you answer no, I'm going to challenge you with the fact that we've already seen them play Kansas State. We've already seen them play Oklahoma State. They beat both of them. They trailed big and came back and beat both of them. So if your answer is no, not TCU, who is it? You think home field is the reason TCU won those games? Like, who is the best team? USC's at 7, Clemson is at 6, and for the first time this year, we have an unchanged top 5. So from 5 to 1, it's Tennessee, it's Michigan, it's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's Ohio State. Now, what I can tell you is we got a little small smidge of movement when it comes to our margins. Right now, neutral field, the model would favor Ohio State -1.5 against Georgia, -3 against Alabama, -10 against Michigan. I think the 10 against Michigan's a little fat. So I think the model is still probably a point or two too low on Michigan. I think they're in the right spot. I just don't think they're power rated quite high enough. So there you go. That's the JP poll right now. I don't think there'll be a lot of controversy 1 through 5. It's just everybody has formed their opinion on this whole Ohio State thing now. And to be honest with you, I don't think this weekend will change it. Because a lot of you don't respect Penn State now that you saw them get splattered all over Ann Arbor. And so even if Ohio State goes in there and wins 40-20, you'll probably look at that and say, oh, of course, so-and-so would go in there and win too. Okay, so I mean, it's a waste of time to argue this. You either believe in quality of team independent of schedule, or you believe in power rating a resume. And if you're power rating resumes, I don't know why you even bother with anything until the end of the year. And that would be my advice. Don't bother watching this segment until the end of the year. I conversely believe there are some things that are pretty obvious to the naked eye if you understand or fractionally understand the game, where you don't have to wait until 12 games are under your belt to start to figure out how good a team is. I don't think you have to do that. And I would also ask this rhetorically, because we got to move on. How do odds makers formulate point spreads? If that's a meaningless tactic of power rating teams, week 1, week 3, week 5, before they've played anyone, how do those odds makers formulate lines? Now, you could shoot back at me and prove you don't know a lot about what you're talking about, and you could say, oh, but underdogs win all the time. That they do, friend. Work in a 1,000 game sample size and tell me how flawed Vegas's approach is. Work in a 1,000 game sample size, not a 1 game. They score in 3s and 7s in this sport. The ball is shaped in an oblong manner. It bounces in weird ways. Of course, you can cherry pick exceptions to the rule. The rule is you are able to power rate teams. You don't always have to have a lineup of top 10 and top 15 competition they've played before you figure out if someone's good. Now, good teams sometimes lose because their schedule is tougher, but you also take that into account. So, I mean, that's the reason we've got 3 loss teams power rated above 1 loss and undefeated teams sometimes, because it's relative to who you've played. So I get all that. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Make sure you like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Not just for me. That's how we keep this entire thing free.